Hey there, PCOS TTC moms, and welcome to the Becoming Moms Method. This is Dr. Tian Pramlab. I'm a mom of one, fertility coach, pharmacist, and someone who's been there in the trenches of PCOS infertility myself. Like the trailer has mentioned, I spent over 2 years trying to conceive with insulin resistance and PCOS. And I know how exhausting it is to feel like you're doing everything right, tracking, testing everything, tweaking your diet and lifestyle, over exercising, yet still wondering when it will finally be your turn. That's why this podcast exists. Here, I want to give you a breakdown of all of my tips and strategies. They're science-backed, realistic strategies to help get your ovulation back, balance your hormones, optimize your egg quality, and help you move closer to meeting your baby. So if you're ready for my expert guidance, real talk, and a little bit of humor along the way, hit that follow button and let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our last minute live.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, there you are.
Good morning.
Yes, it's morning, well, noon here. But I know you emailed me and you mentioned that your fertility course is all done. Tell me more about
Yes.
what that
Yeah.
is for our viewers.
Yeah. So I finally, I kind of had to stop breastfeeding because it was taking so much. I never actually knew how much brain power and energy it takes to breastfeed a baby. So I just found myself having trouble concentrating and getting stuff done. And I thought instead of beating myself up about it, I'm gonna just accept that this is how I feel right now. So this was over the summer. And then I gave myself a little grace and I said, okay, I'm gonna breastfeed. And then I gave myself a date. I was like, okay, here she's nearly 2. That's what we do in Scandinavia. And then I set a date, stop breastfeeding, and then I let my hormones regulate themselves before filming the rest of the course. And I was like, that's okay. If it comes out this year or next year, that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I finally had some time. I put them to nursery and kindergarten, and I had some time without noise to record.
Yeah, I can definitely relate because my toddler is 2.5 now, so she is in preschool. That's what we call it here.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So that's been helpful
Yeah.
with running the business. I also wanted to kind of chat about, I guess, it's like infertility struggle because that's a lot of the time where no one really talked about it, at least when I was trying for a baby during the pandemic, especially too. It was pretty lonely, I would say, because I didn't really reach out to anyone. It felt kind of shameful. Somehow, I mean, I knew people struggle with fertility. I've seen it posted, but I also seen the other side where people gotten pregnant quite easily. So I thought that my body was broken, like something is like seriously wrong, right? So I think it was just that is the topic that I want to kind of talk about today. So we don't really have much planned. This was pretty much like last minute collaboration, which I love. I mean, it's National Infertility Week here in the US, and I just want us to also share our story, right? I mean, this is the time to speak up, and honestly, we talk about fertility all year round, but especially this week, I want us to share more of the unfiltered scripted thoughts, with our audience. So I don't know, whatever you want to share of your journey, we're here for that.
Yeah, but what you just said resonates with me. We have babies the same age. I also had my son during the pandemic, and I remember living in Asia. There was a lot of taboo around not being able to have children, and I was working as a pregnancy chiropractor, and I was just mortified of
Yeah.
telling anyone that I didn't have kids because I felt so embarrassed. I was like, oh, how can I be a pregnancy chiropractor and I have no kids? And it was really hard. I really struggled.
Mhm.
I felt bad. I felt sad when I went home and people had asked me all day how many kids I had. I didn't see it as a compliment. It just made me sad
Yeah.
that I was lacking my own child. And I don't think I wanted kids as much as I did when I was told I couldn't have them.
Right. Yeah.
Then it became the all-consuming
Mhm.
mission to have, and I say kids now, at that point it was a kid. Like just I would be so grateful to have one child
Right.
of my own and also not just have a child, but I had this thing where, I'd been following for over 10 years at that point, other women being
Mm.
pregnant. And it just looked so nice, and I just wanted to feel it on my own body, having a pregnant belly, and like walking around having like, oh, I can't fit my clothes now. I need to buy new stuff, and people like going, "Can I touch your belly?" Like I literally was like, "Please ask me to if you can touch my belly." I know a lot of people don't like that,
Right.
but like when it finally happens, it's like you just want all of it. And for me, that was a big thing. I wanted to feel it on my own body,
Mhm.
being pregnant and carrying my child and having that connection. Um, so, I mean, my world just got destroyed when I was told I had zero chance. It's like, oh, okay, then what?
Mhm.
That was not what I expected at all. And then you have to pick yourself up, and I had to go to work and smile and take care of my patients and be there for everyone else. And all I wanted was my own baby. So that was hard. That was a struggle. And I also didn't have anyone to talk about it with because all of my friends either they had kids during when we went to university. A lot of people had kids during our studies, and then after, of course, when we finished. So I felt like I was like the last woman in my group to have kids. And now they all have grown-up kids, and I have a toddler and an almost 5-year-old. So it's just it's just a different stage because I chose to wait and I wanted to have my career. And then when I finally wanted my kids, I couldn't have them.
Yeah.
So that's like the irony sometimes
Right.
of what we get sent our way and what we have to deal with. So yeah, definitely tough journey and difficult to acknowledge those feelings
Mhm.
and the shame around it and the loneliness around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't want to be a Debbie Downer. At least I didn't want to be that every time I met up with someone. I didn't want to talk about my issues. Uh,
But
and
you
I
know,
probably
that's
should have.
yeah, that's
I probably
a
should have.
I don't think that was me either, but I think now that I'm on the other side of it, where I now encourage my clients to actually do share more, but most of them feel like it's such a private matter, like fertility issues or pregnancy in general, that they don't really want to share, which I get. Like, we were there too. We didn't think it was, I think for me, I didn't feel like it was my place to burden other people.
Mm.
And I didn't think they would understand or that they would feel sorry for me or like pity me in some way. And I didn't want to be treated differently.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a lot of weird, like mental issues about that, right? But that's why this movement to speak more on infertility is so important, so that other women don't feel as lonely as we did when we were going through this journey. And I mean,
Mm.
we're in like 2025, right? It's not the 1900s where
Yeah.
things were much less accessible.
Oh, yeah.
Now we can do Instagram live, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the ability to connect in virtually in different time zone. Like, you're 9 hours ahead of me, you're about to go to bed.
Yeah. I'm
um
definitely going, I have a 10 p.m. sharp. That's something I learned on
Oh
my
yeah.
fertility journey. The boundaries and what you can do for your own body, right? That's a big thing for me still.
Yeah.
Because I didn't used to do that, right? I was thinking about everyone else. Everyone else came first, and that's just not sustainable.
Same.
But it's
Yeah, I have a
amazing that
9
we can
p.m.
connect like this.
sharp
Yeah,
bedtime.
yeah. um,
And I have a client right now. She's in her 20s, so she's not ready for a baby yet. But I work with PCOS women, so we're in different stages of like regulating our hormones at different time of our lives. And it's hard for me to tell her, oh, you actually need like a solid bedtime routine to really help your body understand the restfulness, calming your nervous system. Otherwise, your hormones won't really want to function the way they should.
yeah.
Even though I understand you're in your 20s, you want to party, you want to stay out late, you want to sleep until noon, right? Like, I get it. Like, I was there.
Yeah.
But there's also this other side, like, what is your priority? Like, that's what I was talking to her about. Is your priorities to really take your health seriously at this point in your life, or are we not ready yet and we still want to participate in society, culture, or, lifestyle, right? So it's really what you prioritize. How would you, I guess, talk to someone who's still deciding whether or not a 10 o'clock or a 9 o'clock bedtime routine is for them?
I mean, luckily I work with mostly 35 plus, so I don't have to convince them that hard. I mean, if someone told me in my 20s I should go to bed early, I'd just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't listen to them.
Right.
It's but if I could have looked into the future and seen myself at that point where I was told I couldn't have kids, oh, I would have done so many things differently. But you don't know, and you think you're gonna, yeah, you're like invincible in your 20s. You don't think about long-term effects. That's part
Yeah.
of being young,
Right.
and I think that's fine as well. And I mean, also the medical field has evolved so much. There's so much we can do now, which is amazing. So there's
That's
hope,
true too. I know
even if
you
you have fun in
focus.
your 20s.
Yeah, you focus with to work with patient or clients who are going through IVF. So that's like a powerful tool to help women 35 and older get pregnant. And I saw your recent post that more women now are having babies in our late 30s, early 40s than in their teens. That's a pretty big improvement for us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
with IVF.
that's due to technology, right? We have
Yeah.
we have ability now to have kids, even if we get an infertile diagnosis. And I mean, for me, that's wonderful. I know a lot of people have different opinions. I have been told those opinions to my face as well by religious groups and other stuff. I don't judge anyone. I just go, that's your opinion. We just disagree. But I'm grateful that IVF exists, and I have my two beautiful babies now, for sure. And yeah,
Oh, that's
so.
interesting. I know you mentioned religious opinion because I mean I never been told this because I didn't go down the IVF route, but I have family because I grew up Catholic. So the Catholic pool of thinking is very strict on everything. And I have relatives who weren't able to have babies, but they refused to go down the more science-based route. And I kind of want to ask you, what were you told? Like, what were these people telling you about
So
this?
this was just normal Christian person, nothing advanced, nothing like yeah, just normal American person telling me it wasn't God's will,
Mm,
basically, to my
mm,
face while I was pregnant, and it was just like, okay, great, thank you for sharing that. I mean, baby's coming whether you believe in it or not. It's just sad, you
Yeah.
know, because not everyone can have kids naturally or first time they try, right? And I think that's what we hear before this movement. That's what we heard about a lot. Oh, the pregnancy announcement, and oh, I didn't even have to try. Oh, and then we got pregnant, right? That's the stories we were hearing, all the positive stuff, and not so much when people struggle. And because we were told people want to see the positive, they don't want to see the negative.
Yeah.
And I believed that actually for a long time, and I was part of posting only positive stuff and never, what I was struggling with. I'm not like that anymore. I learned, and I don't care anymore what people think. That's part of getting older.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
whatever works for a
Same.
person that makes them happy, regardless of who they believe in or what they believe in, that should be the focus,
I like
not what's about.
getting older and not caring so much about what other people think. I think a lot of people still are struggling of getting there. At least for me, I feel like maybe I am a people pleaser at some degree, right? Like we want to be liked, we want people to like us, we want to make other people happy, and at some point you have to draw that boundary of protecting your peace in your own personal journey, and in fertility especially, too, like comparing yourself and your timeline with your friends and neighbor might bring you more stress
Oh yeah.
than peace, right? And joy. And that's what infertility has kind of robbed us of, when you're going through this and you're looking at through the lens of other people instead of your own journey, focusing on what you can do for yourself. That's, I think, is what I'm learning now, and teaching my clients and sharing more of the struggle side, like not just the happy stuff, like you said too, because we thought that people would judge us on the things that aren't so pretty, but they actually help you relate to other people more and resonate with other people more. Maybe you make more friends that way, or get
For
more
sure. This
help more
community
clients
has
that
been,
way.
the community has been so, I mean, if I had stopped when someone close to me said, when I decided to share my IVF live with everything, and I got a comment of, oh, wow, you're really, oversharing. I remember that hurt, but at the same time, it kind of made me want to share even more, because I was like, you're not gonna, stop me from speaking my truth and helping other women who are in the same situation, feeling tabooed, feeling judged, feeling like there's something wrong with them. If I can tell just one person there's nothing wrong with you and it's okay, it's gonna be okay, then it's worth it. So it just made me share like even more.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Keep
mean
sharing.
and
I
it
love
creates
it.
this community.
Yeah.
And the more people who speaks openly about their infertility, not just celebrities but regular people, it makes it more normal.
I think we speak even more. Like I know there are more women sharing about their journey now.
During this quick interruption, but I have something I know you're going to love. If you've been feeling frustrated, lost, or just plain exhausted from trying to figure out how to regulate your cycle if you have irregular ovulation with PCOS and have to optimize your egg quality on your own, I've got you. I have a free masterclasses called Bun and Oven where I walk you through exactly how to regulate your cycle so you know exactly when you're ovulating, boost your fertility without any crazy restriction or cutting out all of your favorite foods, take simple science-backed steps that actually move you closer to meeting your baby. So who is this masterclass for? So if you have PCOS or other metabolic syndrome, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or maybe you're struggling with insulin resistant, then you come to the right place. And if you've been trying to conceive for a while now, or maybe you're just starting out and you don't know exactly what you need to do in order to get pregnant, this free masterclass is also for you. So in this class, we're also going to be talking about how I got pregnant naturally without taking any medication or supplement, even though I'm a pharmacist. And I'll show you how I did that. Right? I spent over 2 years trying to conceive, and I'll be able to go in depth a little bit more on the little mistakes I made along the way and what to do instead, and how to avoid what I did to help you conceive a lot sooner than I did, right? I don't want you to have to spend 2 years trying to figure this out on your own. If you can take a shortcut, why not? This entire masterclass is about less than an hour long. I also will show you the method that I teach my clients now that helped them fall pregnant within 6 months, and one mama even got twins. So we'll go over how I regulate my cycle. It's normally really spaced out. Every 6 months or so, I would have a cycle, maybe once or twice a year. But after learning what I will show you in this masterclass, it was coming every single month right on the dot, every 28 days, which is kind of insane, right? That is exactly what you'll get in this powerful training. So my proven method that allowed me to regulate my cycle from over 108 days long to a 30 days consistent cycle, and how I improved my insulin resistance by lowering my A1C from 5.7, which is the pre-diabetes range, to 5.4, which is the normal range, in only 6 weeks. And I continue to keep it down even now, 2 years postpartum. And finally, all the common mistakes I made, but once avoided, I was able to fall pregnant naturally without any medication or supplement. And this entire training is completely free, and you can grab it right now at this link, bit.ly/meetmybaby. So bit.ly/meetmybaby. All right, so let's go back to today's episode.
But I don't think it's enough. Like, I can count on, like, the palm of my hand. Like, it's just a handful of people sharing. We need, like, millions of people sharing, right? We need even more women more comfortable talking. Like, you don't have to even get on social media like we are doing. You can just talk to a friend, like, start small. You can just share your story, because the people around in your circle, they don't understand what you went through. And it would be helpful to help them understand the difficulty that you've gone through, your infertility journey, and not feel shameful about it, like not hiding it or not sharing it, and wait until, oh, I'm pregnant, or at the end of the journey where maybe you not have a baby, and then share it. I always felt like I didn't share enough during my 2 years of infertility. The only person I told were really my mom and my husband, and then my doctor, right? Like, I'm sharing now after the fact. I felt like I probably should have shared during too. That helps a lot of people, I think.
You're making up for it now. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think I am making up, but it's still hard to, well, not remember, but I remember a lot. But, like, feeling like you said, oversharing, like somebody commenting that, like, I feel like, oh, am I sharing too much? Am I talking about this nonstop? Like, is people gonna judge me about talking about this? Because my natural trade is a pharmacist, right? And I thought, oh, maybe why aren't she doing pharmacy stuff? Like, why is she talking about fertility? Like, she weren't really formally trained for doing any of this stuff. So I was having all these doubts before I started sharing my journey, that people are going to condemn me or criticize me, and judging me for trying to help other women in the same boat have a baby. But when I actually talk to my friends who are in the pharmacy world too, they're actually supportive of me doing this, and they're actually is telling me to keep going. So it was all just in my head. Like no one really was judging me. They actually wanted me to keep doing this. So yeah, it's different when you actually talk to people about your struggle about fertility.
Yeah. No, and I also like when you already like me when I had a baby and then had to go through ICSI to get my second baby. I felt even more shame there, speaking my truth of how much I wanted a sibling. And now I coach my clients in the same, and it's universal. They're all feeling the same way, because it's like guilt of wanting more
Yeah.
when you already have one, and so many in the infertility community are just trying to get that one baby, right? Especially when you've had miscarriages, you have lost. It's triggering,
Mm-hmm.
right? When someone speaks about now I want, number two or number three even. And I get that in my heart, I get that, but that shouldn't stop us from speaking our truth and what we want. It's okay what we want, and giving ourselves that permission
Mm-hmm.
to build that family that we want, regardless of what other people say, or what their opinions are of that. So I think a big step also is getting past all that judgment we think people harbor from, and if someone has it and they decide to say that to our face or in our DMs, that's okay too. Like we triggered something in them, and
Yeah.
that's part of this game of trying to help people in a public space. So you gotta just take
Right.
the good with the bad and accept it.
But piggyback on what you were saying about how having one child and wanting more, like two things can be true. Like you love your current baby, but you still have more love to give and you want to build that family. Like it doesn't have to be one way or the other. Like people can say, oh, you already have a kid, like why do you want more kids, you know? Like other people are still trying to have the one baby and they haven't had any, but it doesn't, your journey doesn't have to mirror other people's journey. Like people can have no kid, people can have one kid, people can have six kids, right? Like it doesn't have to be identical. Otherwise, our our human evolution would be super boring and we would be super boring like if we all look exactly the same, right? So two things can be true. Like you can love your baby and still try for another baby. But it's funny because in my case, one baby is plenty of work for me. So I'm like, on the flip side, people are telling me, oh, like you only have one kid, like is that it, right? You know, like you need more kids because of this and this and that. And I get their point of view, but for me my family feels complete. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel the need to have another baby. Like my mission now is to actually help people have as many babies
Yeah.
as they want, right? So
We can be
like,
fairy
right,
godmothers to all these kids that we help get
yeah.
into the world. I think that's a beautiful thing.
And
Definitely.
in my journey, I remember because the title of this live is like fertility struggle, and that it was hard to, I don't know about you, but for me it was like timing of having sex and like sex on demand, like you know when you're ovulating, I'm like, husband, it's time, you know, like, and I keep doing that repeatedly, multiple cycles before I actually were pregnant. So I felt like that was exhausting, don't you think? Like how do you feel about doing that?
I didn't get to that stage because we were told 0%. So it's like, why even try? So we just went straight to all the injections and everything. So I always kind of joke that it's almost like a virgin birth. Because there was no involvement other than going to the lab.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have that luckily. But I can imagine it can become quite mechanical when it's like, oh, this is time, like, come on, you need to deliver. Like, it's not very sexy
No.
or romantic, but
Oh,
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do,
right.
right?
Yeah, definitely not sexy at all. And my husband was just like, am I just a machine now? And I said, yep, mm-hmm. That's that's what you've become. And it was like 2 years of just trying and timing and ovulating, and it was a lot. And no one really taught us how to like track ovulation or know when your body is ovulating, at least during for PCOS women who
Yeah.
doesn't have regular cycle. We don't know when you're ovulating. And I was on birth control for like over 10 years. I don't know if the UK has birth control pushed too, but in the US, birth control was like, it still is really pushed strongly now. And as a pharmacist, I was dispensing that. For 7 years, I was on it for over 10 years, and it masked all of my symptoms. I didn't
Yes.
understand how my body functioned at all. And then, you're in your 30s. Okay, let's have a baby. I went off of it, and I didn't have a cycle for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So, like, what? I don't know
Yeah.
if that's something that you guys also deal with in the UK.
Uh, Definitely, I went through the same. Also, 10 years until one of my doctor friends was like, "You have migraines? You shouldn't be on birth control. That can give you strokes." And I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay, that was such a wake-up call." Because I was
that's
just
the
put
side
on it
effect. Yeah,
instead of examining like why are your periods so painful and heavy, like more kind of endometriosis
yeah,
path than PCOS. But same thing, like let's not find the reason. Let's just put all these young girls on like really strong birth control, um, and then no wonder it's hard to get pregnant later because you get it before your whole hormone system is even
balance.
mature
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
right? I was 11 when I was put on them, but I wasn't sexually active until I was maybe 19 or 20, but because I had heavy, painful period, it's like ridiculous.
okay,
But that's just how it was done. And that was
okay,
in Denmark. I'm in Denmark now, but I'm guessing, I don't know what it's like in rest of Europe, but it's just so old school. But how are you supposed to know that, right? You're a
yeah,
young girl and you just do what the doctor says, right?
yeah. I
But
think I
that's
was like
also why I wanted to get
13,
into learning about this stuff because I found it quite
right?
interesting,
I
learning how
think
the
so
body
too.
actually works.
How we're
Um,
both women, but I felt like I knew nothing
yeah,
about how my body works, and I'm still learning now, like how insane this is, and like how biology and like science together to create life, right?
yeah,
And the more research I've done, the more I'm still like, oh my gosh, there's so much that we could learn about the human body, and there's different ways of helping women get pregnant. You're doing the IVF route, and then I'm trying to do it with the nutrition. But we talked about in the previous collaboration that nutrition as like the foundation
yeah,
based, and I mean sleep too, like with all of the stress, nervous system reduction plus IVF, that could be
yeah.
like a big
People
equation
people
of game
don't
changing.
know how much they can do themselves and how they can optimize them. I didn't know that
Yeah.
when I had my first IVF trial. Nothing worked. Everything failed. Of course, it failed. Like my body was not in an optimal position to
Mm,
do an IVF cycle. But I didn't know that at the time. I just trial and error basically, and then I discovered how much nutrition and inflammation and all these things can help us optimize our body
yeah.
for conception. Even if it's natural or you end up in IVF, doesn't matter. You still
Yeah.
need and especially with endometriosis, and you have extra inflammation, right? So there's even higher likelihood of a miscarriage even with IVF. So if we can like get the baseline right before we try and conceive, we're doing ourselves a great favor. And
Yeah.
there's so many things that are important. But I would say nutrition is one of the biggest game changers for sure.
That's amazing.
Um,
Yeah, that's what I focus on too, like that foundation that we need. I mean, especially with the US having a lot of processed foods being pushed for the past 30 years. And the other day, it's funny, it's probably different in the UK, but my friends started having chicken in his backyard. It's not common here to do that.
So
So
he's doing a
and then,
Meghan Markle. Oh, sorry, Meghan of Sussex
oh,
with the
oh
chickens.
really?
Yeah, it's
I
becoming
haven't
very
watched her
trendy to
show,
have
so
chickens.
I don't know anything about her story.
It's not
But I mean, so
nice.
his
I wish
chicken
I
is
had chickens in
eggs,
my backyard.
and then I got to try those
Yeah,
eggs. And then I was telling my mom, these eggs taste so much better than
yeah,
the market ones. And then my mom
yeah,
said, I've already had those when I was a little kid because my mom was born in Vietnam and she
yeah,
grew up there. So it was normal for her in like the 70s having chicken in the house, and then she was just like blowing me off as if, having fresh eggs was nothing. But to me, I grew up eating, eggs from the market. And like that is the nutrition that we need to go back to, like the wholesome food, the fresh produce and all of that stuff is what our body naturally craved, and we didn't give it to the body for like how many years we've been living in this like higher processed world, right? And that's what
mm,
I try to reverse back for my
yeah,
clients and me too.
yeah. No, it's a journey. It's a
Hmm.
journey. It's not like our parents' time. There's not the same nutrients in the soil.
I wish
Everything
we
is
could
GMO.
go back
It's
to
just
that time,
different.
really. Things
Yeah,
was simpler then, but people thought simple was not efficient. Like more things now are more efficient, like with machinery and the processed snacks and all of the things that we are like with technology, we can do a lot. But at the same time, we're harming our body, like microwaving, that's probably not great, like cancer causing food, plastic container, you name it. It's all because of the world is moving in this direction with all this technology.
yeah.
Um, and
But
people
I
don't
think
stop to
people,
think about it.
but I feel that they're getting much more awakened now in general. I find that in my clients as well. And that's so nice to see.
Yeah.
The amount of knowledge and the way knowledge is so easily accessible now. That helps for sure.
That's
Yeah.
true. No, technology, if we use it in the right way, is very efficient and helpful.
Mm.
But not everyone does that, right? And we have to kind of filter the bad things and then keep the good parts and
Yeah.
then utilize what's good for our body. So I guess a lot of it is like knowledge and educating more women. But you're right, the people that we do work with already does know a lot. I mean, they've been fed information everywhere, so we help them filter out, the right things. Basically, is what we do.
Yes.
But I know your bedtime is approaching, so I don't want to keep you up too late over there. But we can definitely save this, and then we'll do like a replay send out. We can even, this might be a good podcast episode too. I don't know how I'm gonna convert it into one, but I'm gonna try to do that as well because I think this chat can can do a lot of people a lot of good, like in a actual podcast feeds. But I know a couple of you joined. If you have any question for us, we can answer them quickly before we end. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to share, Kamilla.
I think if people have any questions when we post the
Oh,
replay, they're more than
yeah,
welcome, and
we'll
we'll,
do
we'll
that.
both try and respond as fast as we can. Sometimes things come up even days after when you watch something and you start thinking, or so you're always welcome to either put your questions in the feed or DM any one of us if you want to ask. For sure. Yeah,
Yeah, but
we're
just
both
to kind of
here to
recap,
help.
I really help women with PCOS get pregnant. And then Dr. Kamilla, she helps women who are going through IVF get pregnant. So we have different kind of route that will help you guys get pregnant. But either ways, you're going to be pregnant. if you work with
Yeah.
either one of us, right? That's the
Yes.
end goal of our mission now after becoming moms ourselves and going through infertility. For me, it was just 2 years, but for you, it was like 5
Yeah, 5
years or how
for
long?
the first one, and
Yeah,
the other one is same age, 2.5.
less
Yeah.
even more than me, because some people have this like secondary infertility where they have the first baby super easy and quickly, but then the second baby is the harder journey
Yeah,
to get to.
exactly.
So that's also
Yeah.
something we need to look at.
Yeah.
Like postpartum hormones, like after you have that first child, and then you have to re-regulating everything, like after breastfeeding. We haven't really gotten to talk about this, but you probably have more to share. But we can pin that topic for the actual podcast recording when we schedule that later on. We can talk about like the postpartum hormones coming off of like breastfeeding and how your body re-regulates so you can try again for the second baby. I think that would be a good topic.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I work a lot with the secondary infertility. Yeah.
Okay,
So that's a great topic.
awesome.
And I've been through it myself.
Well,
So,
I will email
yeah.
you on the
Yeah.
dates,
Perfect.
and then we'll try to find. She's 9 hours ahead of me, guys, so we will
We're
be
trying.
yeah, juggling with the time zone. But thank you so much for joining me tonight. For you and anyone else who joined us for the live, thank you for taking the time to listen to our little chat here during National Infertility Week. We hope that this was helpful, and I'll post the replay on mine, and Dr. Holst will share it on her Instagram page as well.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Becoming Moms Method. I hope you found it super helpful and most of all, that it gave you a little bit more clarity and confidence in your fertility journey. And if today's episode really resonated with you, and if you're nodding, thinking along, yes, this is exactly what I need help with, then I want to invite you to take the next step. Because here's the truth, right? You don't have to keep guessing, keep second guessing, or keep trying random things, hoping something will work, which is what I did for over 2 years. You deserve a plan that actually made for you. So that's exactly why I created your next step called the Sticky Baby Formula. So you don't have to keep wondering what's missing or if you're doing the right thing. So with Sticky Baby Formula, I take a deep dive into your fertility journey and I tell you exactly what's working, what's missing, what to do next, right? Think of it as me sitting down with you, breaking it all down, giving you clear, personalized roadmap so that you can stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress towards your baby today. If that sounds like something you need right now, go to this link to get started. So bit.ly again, bit.ly/mystickybaby. Once you fill out this form, I'll personally go over it. I'll look at your information and everything that you submitted from this personalized form, and I'll send you a custom-made video with me recording my screen, sharing all of the tips. I will create a roadmap for you with all of my best recommendations according to what you provided, and you'll get this personalized video in 48 hours. So this is your chance to stop all the guesswork and start taking action with confidence. So if you're ready, head to bit.ly/mystickybaby now, and I can't wait to personally walk through this with you. I'll give you that link again. It's B as in boy, I as in igloo, T as in Tom, dot, L as in Larry, Y as in yellow, /my-sticky-baby. All right, friend, until next time, take care, stay hopeful, and know that I'm always cheering you on.